All right, we're starting this edition of the News Bulletin with breaking news coming in. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has lashed out at the West in a speech just moments ago. During an address, Putin slammed Western leaders' statements on Moscow attacking NATO. The Russian leader said, and I'm quoting, "Western elite need to calm down and focus on solving their own problems." However, he also said that Russia may respond to Europe's militarization if provoked.
If anyone does desire to compete with us in the military sphere, then, as we say, free will, let them try. Russia has proven time and again that when a threat arises to our security, the peace and tranquility of our citizens, our sovereignty and our very statehood, we respond swiftly. There is no need to provoke us. There has never been a case where this did not ultimately end badly for the provocateur. There is no need to expect exceptions here, and there will be none in the future.
The comment appears to have been made in the backdrop of increased defense spending by NATO and European Union member states beefing up their defenses. Russia's president also praised his American counterpart during the speech. Putin said that if Trump had been president earlier, the conflict with Ukraine could have been avoided. Vladimir Putin also issued a warning to Russia's adversaries in a remark targeted at the West. Putin said, and I'm quoting, "If someone wants to pick a fight with Russia, bring it on." All right, joining us live on the broadcast is our correspondent Susan Teherani, who's joining us from New York. Susan, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, Vladimir Putin has now hit back. He seems to have had it, and he has lashed out at the West in his speech that was held a short while ago. And he said that the Russian leader said the Western elite need to calm down and focus on solving their own problems. He has, however, also said that if Trump were president earlier, this war would have never happened. How do you assess these statements, Susan?
Yeah, it does appear that that meeting in Copenhagen has sort of rattled Russia to a certain extent. Yesterday, we had a press conference with Russia's ambassador to the UN, and the tone was similar, basically saying that the era of hegemony is over and we're now entering really a multipolar world, and talking about not only the West's hegemony, but to a certain extent how these countries want to pull other countries into their bloc. This might be a reference not only to the United States trying to ask countries to pick sides, but mostly the European Union, where Zelensky, the Ukrainian leader, was also present at the Copenhagen meeting, giving a speech and its aspirations to join the European Union and to a lesser extent join NATO as well. I also thought it was very interesting that Vladimir Putin also said that Russia was open to joining NATO a few times, but every time that Russia wanted to join NATO, it was struck down. Those were very interesting statements coming in. But yes, nonetheless, it appears that Putin isn't criticizing President Trump directly when he talks about the so-called West. It's mostly Europe. And he did mention that, had President Trump been in office, maybe this war wouldn't have happened. I do want to say one of the policies and lines that Russia has been taking when it comes to the war in Ukraine recently is playing on President Trump's words, saying that this is Biden's war. Yesterday, the ambassador said that President Trump has to be careful not to continue, quote unquote, Biden's wars. So they are using the president's comments when it comes to this war sort of directed at him. Russia is also concerned about the United States possibly selling Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine to penetrate deep into Russia. So a lot of the context of what Putin was talking about today goes around to what extent the United States wants to help Ukraine in this ongoing war. And of course, the Wall Street Journal also talked about the U.S. sharing intelligence as well.
Right, Susan, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, important to note here that when he's talking about the so-called West, he's also praising Donald Trump. And of course, what remains to be seen is whether this war whether we can reach peace, and that's something Donald Trump can finalize between the two sides as well. Thank you so much, Susan.